couple years ago, I did a video talking about Apple Music's top 100 albums list. It was a great video. People seemed to like it, and I wanted to do another one, but I was just kind of waiting for the right time. And here we have Rolling Stone with the top 100 greatest punk albums of all time. Punk is my favorite genre. This is a few months old at this point. I admittedly found out this existed when Anthony Fantano posted a video on this for the top 20. Let's get into this. Do my best to sort of talk about some key picks on this as I'm scrolling, and maybe sort of talk about what I wish was on here, what I wish wasn't on here, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, I want to start things off with talking about Paramore Brand New Eyes at 99. I'm super happy that Paramore is on here. If you're talking about modern pop punk and just pop punk in general, I do think Paramore is in the conversation. And Brand New Eyes especially is so good. There's so many great fucking tracks on it. I have no statement on the placement itself, but I'm just happy that this is here, and this specifically is the album that they picked. I used to really love Riot in terms of their earlier stuff, but then revisiting Brand New Eyes recently has been like, no, this is the Paramore pop punk album, honestly. So I'm glad that it's here. Refuse Shape of Punk to Come. I only listened to this for the first time, I think last year. This album fucking rips. So much of what I love in punk music is in this album, from the production to the performances, all around. It just sounds so cool. Honestly, I think this should be higher. This needs to be on this list, but I think this should be higher. Kind of shocked that Idols is on here. No disrespect to Idols. I do really like them. I'm not too familiar with their debut, so I can't really speak on it. But their albums that I am familiar with, Tank and the other one, I forget the name off my head, are really good. But I definitely think they should be mentioned in terms of like great modern punk adjacent bands. Damned Self-Titled is a classic. This is such a fun album. I'm glad this is here. I just wish this could have been higher. Kick out the jams! Yeah, you gotta have MC5 kick out the jams if you're talking about the greatest punk albums of all time. As I'm saying with all the rest of these, this should be higher for how influential this was when it comes to an incredibly political, harsh punk album. This needs to be higher up in the conversation. It just sounds so good and is so influential to everything that came after it, that having this at 85 is not enough, honestly. There needs to be more here. Blink-182 Dude Ranch? Like, I get on one hand we want to recognize Blink-182, and they decided to go for the more the punkier of their early stuff before they went full pop punk. And there are some great tracks on here, like Damn It is great. But I don't know, with Paramore Brand New Eyes being on here, they're not ashamed of having pop punk on here. And Enema of the State is just a better album. Dead Boys Young, Loud, and Snotty, hell yeah. Like, this is a great album. Super glad that this is here. Big fan of what this had to put out. Yeah, I don't really have notes. I think 76 is pretty apt. Hell fucking yes. Again, I'm biased. This should be so much higher, but I think this album's genuinely fucking perfect. As far as hardcore punk goes, in the modern sense, in any sense, this is essential. This is essential hardcore punk. I have been listening to this album so much again recently, because I've changed jobs and I work in a warehouse, and I honestly turn this on and just blare this over the speakers because the playing on it is so fast and so harsh that it keeps me, it's like a bolt of adrenaline. The vocal performances on this album are fucking crazy. He's just screaming through all the lyrics. And the lyrics, holy fuck, the lyrics on this are so fucking haunting and just so rage inducing that this is everything to me what hardcore punk should be. If you have not listened to this album and you're a fan of punk and hardcore punk, you are doing yourself a disservice by not having heard this album. Finally, Dead Kennedy is on here. Ugh. 68 is a little devastating. I mean, in a similar notion to Soul Glow, this is why I love punk. Just their energy, the vocal performances, the political messaging behind it all is just so fucking good. All four of their albums are outstanding, are fucking outstanding, and should be recognized. And I just wish I'm hoping that they show up higher on this list because they deserve to be recognized more. Because they really are just that damn fucking good. Holy shit. I'm having a hard time sort of grappling with my thoughts on this placement. Their earlier stuff I think deserves to be on here, but this album also does mean a lot to me. Is it my favorite punk album of all time? No. I don't even know if I'd put it in my top 20, top 30, top 40 of all time. But what this represents for Against Me, Laura Jane Grace, and I think just transgender and queer punk as a whole, like this does mean a lot to me specifically. A message statement, one of pure rage and just power and emotion that it feels to be trans. Like this hits it on the nail so hard. And I think that to me more overpowers any of my feelings of the music not being as sharp as I would want it to be, you know? We hadn't seen Circle Jerks yet, and I was genuinely wondering if we were going to see them on the list. And yeah, I'm glad that it's group sex. Yeah, like the article fucking says it's 16 minutes long, and holy shit, it is a fast, energetic 16 minutes. It's so much fucking fun. Something that I'm a big fan of with this list that I really haven't had like the urge to talk about, but I really like a lot of the showcasing to artists that are under-recognized in quite a few different ways. A broad spectrum and not just picking shit that everybody knows, which the Apple Music one felt like. The Apple Music one felt like we were just picking shit that people knew, whereas this feels like cohesive grouping of punk and all of its subgenres. Earlier in the list, I didn't really bring it up because I didn't really fully know what to say on it in a way that was like an actual statement, but they had Pogue's Rum Sodomy on here, and it just like it's covering so many different subgenres of punk, which I think for a list like this is pretty important to do. And maybe that's bare fucking minimum for this list to do, or lists of this to do, but like I think lists what they should do is it should be filled with stuff that you aren't familiar with, so you can be like, "Oh, this is placed similarly around stuff that I do like. I want to give this a shot." And the Apple Music one sucked at that. Fucking Bratmobile. Let's go. Yeah, this album is so much fun. It feels so raw and energetic and fun and snarky, and it's so fun to listen to. I'm hoping we get some more Riot Girl stuff. We did have some earlier, but like I haven't seen Sleater Kinney yet. I'm hoping that we get some Sleater Kinney, maybe some Bikini Kill. That would be cool. We have Bratmobile this high up. I'm hopefully thinking that we'll probably get Sleater Kinney and Bikini Kill if we have Bratmobile at 36. Fingers are crossed, you know. Yep. Yeah. Wait a second. This is the fucking compilation. I haven't brought this up before, but this feels kind of like a perfect time to do this. There's been quite a few compilation albums on this list. Like, it's compiling all the good stuff. I think that should automatically disqualify it from being here because it's not like a cohesive full album experience like the rest of these are. I know with a lot of punk compilations and like compilation stuff in general, like certain singles are really fucking good and weren't on an album. But it also is like I think for the artistic integrity of a list like this, doing like best of or compilations feels like a fucking cop out. You could have just thrown Static Age in here and like I won't have batted an eye. I almost didn't bat an eye before I realized that this is the fucking compilation. What are we doing here? Okay, so they did something right here with Fugazi Repeater, because this album fucking rocks. I was fully, after the Misfits, I was fully expecting that if they were going to put a Fugazi album on here, they were going to put 13 songs. And if they did, I was going to lose my mind. But no, they wouldn't put Repeater on here. Hell yeah. As a Minnesotan, I gotta fucking rep Replacements. Putting my hands together, can we see some Husker Du? I am not too familiar with this album, admittedly. So yeah, if anything, this is pushing me to go listen to this one soon because I haven't heard this one, and it's the one that made the list. So I should fucking do that. This is what's so tricky now that we've had compilations on here because yeah, Minor Threat deserves to be on here. Minor Threat needs to be on here. But it's like, that's everything. Like, yes, it's everything. Like, at this point, we are just throwing a entire collective artist's work as number 22. Like, I get they didn't have a super huge catalog, but it's also not fair that we're saying this entire artist's complete work is the 22 greatest punk album of all time, when part of this consists of an album that is already fucking great that you could have just thrown at 22 and it would have been the same. All right, we've hit the top 20. And Green Day Dookie is here. Yes, fuck yeah. Like, this is such an incredible, fun pop punk album. I come back to this one all the time. It admittedly is not my Green Day album of choice. I grew up with American Idiot, and I continue to think American Idiot is my favorite Green Day album. Dookie is Green Day. Like, this is everything that made Green Day so good in the 90s, before they shifted to something far more sinister. Finally a bikini kill. Finally a fucking bikini kill. Let's go. Woo! Jarvis, can you cue the picture of my wall, please? Thank you. Thank God. Finally, Bad Brain self-titled. A perfect album. A perfect punk album. The riffs on this are so fucking fast. It is insane. The playing, the performances, all of it is so like ruthless. I could not believe it the first time I heard this album. Every single time they take a break to play one of those reggae cuts, it feels like a nice little just like breather before they get right back in to fucking assaulting your entire autonomy system with how fast they're fucking playing. Honestly, this should be top 10. I'm glad it's top 20. This should be top 10. Top fucking 5 even. I don't give a fuck. There's one thing that I've just kind of sat with myself that, like, there have not been any duplicate artists so far, and usually for certain lists, they save duplicates towards the top, but I almost wonder, like, are we going to see any duplicates at all? I don't know if we'll see any duplicates. Yeah, never mind. Perfect album. No notes. Yeah, needs to be on here. Top 10. Perfect. Yeah, needs to be on here. Yup. In the documentary The Filth of the Fury, John Lennon described the compositions of the song's opening lyrics, explaining that the best rhyme he could devise for the first line, I am an antichrist, was the second line, I am an anarchist. Lennon confirmed that he is not an anarchist in a 2012 interview. Yeah, is this album fun? A little bit. But it's also done by a bunch of fucking posers. Woo! Oh my god. Everything I said about Bikini Kill and Bratmobile, if you haven't fucking heard Sleater Kinney, you need to do so. Such a good pick. Such a fucking good pick. So we have duplicates now. I mean, yeah, this is far more punk than London Calling, and this is a fucking great album as well. I am just like, wow, 96 spots later, and they finally decide to start throwing in duplicate bands. Shrugs. I like this album. I mean, it's great. It's a classic. I don't know. Would I put this at number 1? I genuinely do not think that I would. I genuinely do not think that I would. I probably in the top. I don't even know if I put this in the top 10. Probably in the top 20. Also, there's another fucking Ramones album on this list. So, the only punk bands worthy of having multiple spots on this list are The Clash and the Ramones. So, there are a lot of great placements on here and a lot of great albums. But I'm still left kind of confused over a lot of this. In terms of placements, the fact that they only introduced duplicate artists, at the very end, when there were so many other artists who had incredible albums placed so much lower. Yeah, I don't know. I like the sentiment of a lot of lists, again, like I talked about when I was talking with about Mannequin Pussy. Like, I like how wide of a spread that they were going for a lot of this. But it, again, these types of lists, they're never going to be fully conclusive to what everyone's going to think. Everyone's going to take something different away. And you know what? That's kind of part of what these lists charm is. Charm, quote unquote. That's all I really got to say about this. Maybe I'll do this again someday if another album list comes my way. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.